All apprentices and delivery staff must wear PPE at all times in an official workshop. Note that these practical examples are filmed in a teaching environment.
The next piece of safe isolation we need to look at is isolating a single-phase piece of equipment, for example this lamp. Okay, so we're going to isolate the circuit so that this lamp up here is safe to work on, and that's fed from a circuit breaker in this board. First thing I need to do is ask permission from my customer or the duty holder if I've got permission to isolate this circuit. So do I have permission please to isolate this lighting circuit? What's going to happen is this light will no longer work. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much. With permission granted to isolate, the next thing we need to do is to identify the means of isolation for this circuit. It's going to be this circuit breaker here. This isn't labelled, but this does the lighting circuit that we need to isolate. You need to be careful when isolating. Really, to switch it off, you just need to do that. But you need to be careful that you don't accidentally knock off a different circuit, which you haven't got permission for. So just take a bit of time and make sure you're very careful in isolating that circuit. So that's step 2 done, identified the means, so we've now turned the circuit off. So the next step then would be to lock that off. Once again, we're going to need our locking device, and that attaches onto the circuit breaker there. Okay, make sure that's on there securely. Once again, we need the locking device and we need a correct label to identify that it's been safely isolated. Place that through the padlock in a manner where it can be seen once it's on. And once again, once locked in the opposition, this key needs to be securely placed in your pocket and kept on you at all times. Now the circuit is safely isolated, we need to make sure that the supply to the fitting is dead. So we need to test the terminals that the light fit in. So to do that, we need to remove the cover. And we need to expose the terminals to be tested. So here on the fitting here, there we can see the incoming supply there, live, neutral and earth. This is a single phase supply, but we're still required to test between the live conductors and the live conductors to earth, which will mean carrying out 3 tests: live to neutral, line to earth and neutral to earth. Also though, this particular light is controlled from these 3 switches. So we need to make sure that this piece of equipment is actually isolated and not just in the off position. Now, this is also quite useful here to have a spare pair of hands that can come in and operate the switches for us while we're testing, because we can't be in 2 spaces at once. So when testing the line conductors to either neutral or to earth, we need to operate the switches. So our customer can do this for us. The first thing I need to do though is put my tester in the proving unit to prove that it is working correctly. Okay, so on there, and you can see all lights are up. So we proved our voltage indicator, which is GS38, is working correctly. Now I need to place this one into the earth conductor and one onto the line conductor, making sure that I can still see the voltage indicator. Dear Mrs. Customer, could you do the first light for me? Thank you. And one just here in the middle. Okay. And finally this one on the end for me. Thank you. Now if you go back to the first one and switch again for me. Thank you very much. And the middle one. Thank you very much. And now on the end. Thank you. So the next step is to repeat that test on the line to neutral. So again, in the line conductor and on the neutral, you ask the customer, can I ask you to do those switches again for me, please? The first one there, thank you. And now the middle one. Thank you. And on the end. Thank you very much. And again, the first one. Okay, thank you. And the middle one. Okay, and on the end there. Okay, thank you very much. So now we've tested between line to earth and line to neutral, and we've operated the switches. What that's done, of course, is brought in all of the cables, all the control cables for that circuit, and we've tested them all to make sure that that's absolutely isolated from there. We also need to test neutral to earth as well, but there's no need really to do any switching for this one, as the neutral's not switched, and as you can see, that's also dead on there. Okay. The final step would be now to prove or reprove our voltage indicator on the known supply, and we're happy there that that has worked correctly. So I'm happy now to say that that light fitting is safely isolated, and I've got the key for that in my pocket.